I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know. Shoot a message off into the question panel. You can hear me okay, and you can see my screen. I have the presentation up. Fantastic. Scott, mute.
Yep, all right.
That's right, buddy. Okay, so welcome, guys. We're at the QA webinar here. It's an interactive webinar between me. Normally, Dan's here. We're flying together. Today, I'm flying solo. So I'm going to take you guys on a little tour of trade ideas, what we've been doing lately. Leave it completely interactive. So please fire off some questions. I will kind of check in periodically to look at the questions. Otherwise, Scott and Barry will handle that. And then about halfway in, we'll just kind of go fully interactive, and I'll take questions from you guys. First slide, our disclaimer. We are a technology company. We're not a registered investment advisor. So any of the symbols, companies that I talk about today shouldn't be construed as investment advice. I am showing you our latest technology, and I'm extremely happy to do so. So trade ideas, we've been doing this for, gosh, we took our first customer 15 years ago. So we started off in 2003, and the partners we considered the venture that we had prior to this one, a $50 million education. It was a venture where we took venture capital, and it was a technology company, but we considered an education because we learned a lot of things that were good, but we learned mostly a lot of things what we don't want to do with this company that we started here in Trade Ideas. So 15 years ago, we started off with a single idea. We wanted to create the best idea generation technology out there, find the stocks that are moving, that allow you as a trader to capitalize on, to find in real time and be able to make money in the stock market. We started at that time with a single window. It was just an alert window looking for new highs and new lows. And from there, we developed into a platform, really something that's an idea generation platform with all the analytics necessary to make your trading decisions throughout the day, including most recently, over the last couple of years, we added some charts to that platform. So really providing all of the tools necessary from which to operate, all except for needing a broker to execute those trades. So a couple of things I want to show you today. I want to show you the latest innovation that's in your hands right now. I want to make sure everybody updates to the latest version of Trade Ideas. Go to our website, go to the download button, and then go to the beta. The beta has some of the latest, greatest functionality, and most recently the addition to our channel bar where we're highlighting the 3 different AIs that we're producing and the profit and loss that is happening in each one of those. So you're getting a real-time indication of it. But I guess that's really just the topping of it. The real meat of it is that there are 3 AIs that you get as a premium subscriber with the latest version. So please download that. And one of the things that we're doing, because we're bringing out this technology and this functionality for the premium subscribers, we're also going to kind of throw a bonus out to the regular subscribers. And it hasn't quite hit the technology yet, but it's coming shortly in the next couple weeks. But we're going to be moving the price alert technology, the technology that allows you to highlight a price point on a chart for a notification. We're taking that price alert technology and we're rolling it out to everybody. So all the standard subscribers are going to get access to that previously premium functionality. So really excited about that. It's if you haven't used the price alerts, it's something that you absolutely have to use. It's a 1-2 tandem punch when you're using it with the other Trade Ideas tools. So very excited about that. This isn't much of a PowerPoint presentation. It's really more of a software presentation and demonstration and QA. So let's dive right into the software. I'm gonna move this out to the side, and we'll come back to it a little bit later. This is Trade Ideas Pro, right? So Trade Ideas Pro, and before I can see actually where to go, hit this download TI Pro button and take it all the way to the bottom. 4240. So this is the very, very latest version. Make sure you get that. So in addition to having a web-based version of Trade Ideas, what I'm showing you here is our flagship downloadable application. It's really the most robust way to use Trade Ideas. And over the years, like I said, we've added visualization windows to the mix here, in addition to that new high and new low alerting window that we started with. We've brought it all together through our channel bar, which is this window that you see over on the left. That this channel bar allows you to not only navigate the different pre-configured themes that we put together in trade ideas, but it also allows you to hit the ground running, to be able to get a running start here using the technology. These are pre-developed windows, pre-configured windows. They're meant for you to dig into, to open up, to see how we've created them, and they're really made for you at the end of the day to windows that you like to modify and create into your own workspace. And the real way to use trade ideas is to, well, there are a lot of different ways to do it. Some people just use one window that's their bread and butter. Some people utilize the channel bar that we have with the channel window. Some people use a hybrid approach and a combination where they build a layout right around the channel window, so that when you're cycling through and you're looking at different channels, you have your other mainstay windows, set up either on the same screen or on a different screen. And that way you can really kind of navigate the various themes that we have. And like I said earlier, not only does it allow you to really peruse the different workspaces that we've created, but it allows you to kind of open it up, put it on the operating table, and see exactly what did we do to configure this window to be able to give us the type of output that we're looking for. So we happen to be on the pre-market channel. It's a place that a lot of people start the day. It really gives you a good indication of a couple of different window visualization tools that we have. And so let's just start with really these two types of windows. So I've got list-based windows. It's kind of it's what we call a top list, but it's going to give you a ranked list of stocks based upon a particular sort order. In this particular case, we're looking for stocks that are gapping up or gapping down during the day. So you pull up trade ideas and you can instantly see what's moving pre-market. Make a list, make a note of it. Maybe you see something that you like and you put that heart on it, and that we'll go ahead and save it to this particular channel right here. So it's saving it to your liked symbol list, but moreover, we've created a channel that allows you to view just those symbols that you're looking at. So I was talking about these lists right here, but we also have these event-based windows. And this event-based window is what we call a multi-strategy window. So in the single window container, I'm going to right-click here and bring up the menu. I have 4 different types of events that could occur to create this type of notification right here. So when something's moving in the pre-market, I'm going to be notified with whether it's running up or making a new high or a new low or doing something with extraordinary pre-market volume. I'm going to be aware of that. So that's what you would look at here on the pre-market channel. And then you could, just scroll down and maybe go to the social media. And we do something that's really unique with the data. It's really what makes us special. We're not just taking this market data and spitting it back out to you so that you can look at it. We're actually taking this market data and we're creating new market data on the fly. So as this last price comes in, or this stock that happens to be doing a big volume print, as that happens, we're taking that information in, we're databasing it, we're comparing it to what's normal. And one of the interesting things is we keep track of every single normal behavior on all the different time frames for all the stocks. So we know what's normal volume behavior for every stock at a particular time of day. We know how much its volatility is, how much does it typically move over a particular time period, maybe 15 minutes or 5 minutes. And when something busts out of that norm, our servers are sitting there listening and waiting for that information to be able to spit it back out to you. And that's really what we do. And this channel right here, the social media channel, we're kind of highlighting that with the social data. So we connect to StockTwits, and through that connection, we're listening to the different symbols that people are typing about through that particular forum. And when a symbol or a stock or a company starts getting mentioned more than normal, that's when it becomes interesting, and that's when we can identify that and let you know. And these stocks here, GALT happens to be being talked about 1,000 times normal, CANF 15,000 times normal. So this is where something is coming to the attention of the market and being just talked about in an extraordinary way. And we do this type of analysis, this benchmarking of the norm with so many different data points. Volume is a great one. So let me go down to the volume channel towards the bottom here. And it's a good illustration of how we take volume and slice and dice it, and not only slice and dice it, but create some of our own data with that. So we know how much stock has moved over 5 minutes, but we also know what's that volume compared to normal over 5 minutes. How about over 30 minutes? How about at this point in time during the day, how about its volume ratio? So it's doing 4.3 times normal volume, this SRRA, well, at the market close compared to normal. So this is all really dynamic information that, as the market's going in real time, this is all updating and giving you clues to the different footprints and happenings in the marketplace. Again, so you've got your list-based windows here and some streaming windows here. Kind of we try to keep it consistent so that you kind of know what you're looking at as you're pulling up these various channels. But I said theme-based, so they could be, pre-market, post-market, but then we're also looking at various sectors or groups of stocks. And this is a recent channel that we put together, the regional and community banks, and doing it a similar way with our lists and our event windows over here. Then we also have this single stock window. And again, like every other window, it can be modified. You can just configure it and bring in the elements that you want. This right here gives you a peek into a particular company, a particular symbol, and its relative data points. Not just the data points that you would look at in the market, like the change for the day or the volume, but the data points that Trade Ideas keeps and maintains. So let me kind of check some question marks here. No questions, so we're good. So I'll just kind of keep rolling along here a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about backtesting. It's what we call the odds maker, and the backtesting is very, very unique in the marketplace, because it's not like you're taking a symbol like Apple and going back 10 years and seeing how you can trade Apple the best. What we're doing is we're taking these very unique types of trade idea strategies that you can create an event, when something is running up on 2 times normal volume, having traded above its yesterday's high with 3 times its volume yesterday. You paint the picture of different levels and layers, and you paint that particular event with filters. And with the odds maker, you have the ability to backtest it and see exactly how you would have performed if you would have bought or sold or performed a set of instructions consistently with that particular strategy. And we built off of that technology. It's technology we developed about, I want to say 8 years ago or so, maybe a little bit longer. And we developed that technology, and then most recently we've put some computer tech on that previous technology to create our AI. So I wanted to lay the foundation of what you can do as a premium subscriber with the odds maker, and it'll also give you, I guess, a kind of an indication of what Holly does after market every day with the different strategies that she's looking at. So let me bring in a couple windows here. Let's bring in this window right here. This is called the early bird, and I'm going to give this to you guys at the end so you can kind of see the beginning, at the end, and be able to use it in your trading. Now, the one thing, the caveat here is, Holly does this type of analysis every single day. So tomorrow, if this particular strategy came up, there's a good chance it would be a little bit different. And it uses the daily data every day to determine and optimize what filters it should use, and really what filters it should use in the settings of the various filters to have the best chance at success the next trading day. So this is a recently optimized strategy. Over time, there's a good chance it'll degrade. I'm going to also give you a strategy here today that has not degraded over, 4 years. That it was created 4 years ago, a little under 4 years ago, and it just still has phenomenal results. It's not an easy strategy, if you will. It's one that's a low volume type of mover, but if it's something that you're paying attention to and the stock lingers at a particular level for some time, you have a really good opportunity of grabbing a bottom in a particular stock. So I'm going to show you both of those and how we do it. So here's the strategy, an early bird. It's a base strategy, meaning it hasn't really been optimized. The AI hasn't gone through it. It hasn't applied a variety of filters to it to create the ultimate or the end strategy. The ultimate, I think that was a Freudian right there. So let me pause the idea surfing so we're not being distracted a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of peek into the strategy here and see what we're looking at. You can go to the summary, and it's a simple crossing above resistance alert, something that's got a bullish intent to it, moving upward, and then a variety of different filters, nothing too crazy here. You know, there's a maximum on the float and a price point between a certain range, certain volume. So, you know, pretty straightforward strategy. And I've already done the, well, all right, hopefully this will be fast. It took a little bit of time last time. Let me do the back test. And what it's doing now is it's going through each one of these events and going back to the server and taking a look at each one of them. If it would have done a certain set of instructions, which is buy the particular signal, hold it for a particular amount of time, and I don't remember what that was, but we'll go back into it. And it was an intraday hold, and you're going to be getting out of this by the end of the day. How would you have done? And so this is the beginning stage of it. It's the one that's going to have the most trades. It's going to be a strategy that's going to be very, very noisy, one that's not really a good strategy to use, just because you'd have, well, gosh, you can look at it right here and you can just see how many different signals happens, you know, throughout the day. But it's a good starting point. You know, you look at an equity curve like this, where I have 51% winners, my average winner is bigger than my average loser. Profit factor, which is the sum total of all your winning trades over sum total of all your losing trades, that's okay. It's something that can be built on, and so it's a good starting point. But you know, again, there were 2,700 trades here, so quite a few number of trades. So if I go back to this instruction, we can see what we're looking at here. We're saying that we're not going to trade the first 15 minutes of the day, and we're not going to trade the last 2 hours of the day. This is West Coast time here. So those are my restrictions for getting into a position, and I'm saying I'm going to hold it 30 minutes before the close. That's when I'm going to get out of anything that I've been positioned in throughout the day through the signals that have occurred here. Risk management, we're going to use the Smart Stop. That's an algorithm that we've developed that looks at the stock, its volatility, its relative volume, one other component, it's range for the day. And it uses those 3 different variables to come up with an algo to determine what's a realistic Smart Stop for that stock. The profit target, if it moves up $1 in that time period, let's get out, take the profits and run, or that's just what we're simulating here. And so now let's just go ahead. I don't need to do it because I've already done it. And this is our result. And what you do with that as a human, you would go through the optimization tab and you take a look at, well, we've broken it down here into $3 intervals from 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and you can kind of see how did that segment perform. So these are all various segments, and how many trades were in each one of those segments. Well, maybe, well, there's only 3 trades here, but what this is telling me is anything over $30 wasn't really that great, right? It wasn't that great of a trade. There's not a lot of green here, so there's not a lot I would take out of these particular windows, but the real power comes when you're looking at this filters tab. And this drop down here has access to every one of the trade ideas filters. And this is what the AI is doing, and what some of you more statistically inclined people will want to do. And that's kind of look at the various buckets that we have here. So this is breaking up the 1 minute RSI, for instance, into buckets that are worth 10 points here, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, and so on. And you can see here that the 27 trades that had an RSI over 80 wasn't that great. The profit factor was under 1, so that means there were more losers. The total value of the losers was greater than the total value of the winners. The win percentage was low, the average was low, and the total was low. So this would tell me that I don't want to have anything with an RSI over 80, but that's the concept behind it. And so you have to know that there are so many filters that we have, and you can go through the whole set here. And like the 10-day range, when it was over $15, my trade success was not as good, 30%, 50%, 50%. So give me a sec, guys, and I'll come back to the questions that don't get answered right after this little odds maker demo here. So you can go down through all the different filters, and that's what the AI does, and it looks at all the data, it slices it up. If you don't want to look at this 3% intervals here, you can change that. And you can look at different intervals and break it up any way that you want. And so ultimately, the idea is to go through the different filters and find out which filters are going to have the most impact on a strategy's success. So this is Let me go back to the summary. This is our base, and then after running it through the AI, running it through the system, it came up with this particular strategy, and it's using the same event, it's using the same filters that have been embedded in the base, but it's gone through the other filters that Trade Ideas has and determined which ones would be most impactful for the strategy. So let me see if I can, we'll probably need to run this one too. So let's backtest this guy. Using the same information, I think the time, we're squeezing out a half hour less of time here, so we're ending it at 10:30, not 11, so that was a difference here. And there's a filter here for time, and that's where it came from. The time said that that's not the time that you should have, and we're getting out a half hour before, same components here, and then we'll simulate it. So with the additional filters, we're not going to find that there were as many trades. So this one here had 2,700 trades, and it's going to have far less than that. It's going to be a manageable strategy with a manageable number of signals throughout the day. So while it's doing that, let me peek over here. So does the AI recommend option trades? Just scrolled up. So right now, well, we don't really have any plans to do specific options. While we do have option filters, like unusual number of option contracts for the day, we don't look at various strikes. So all just purely equities at this point. And we do have plans of adding cryptocurrencies to the software. So Joy, I'll get to the, I'll talk a little bit about the AI channel next after the odds maker, because again, this is kind of the foundation for it, and then I'll go into the channels and talk about really what the AI does and what makes it unique, and how you as a trader can utilize that information. So this right here is the same strategy, just with some additional filters and constraints on it, and this is the result that you get. So now you get a profit factor where the winners are 3 times that of the losers. You have a sample set of 218 trades, 63% which are winners. This was 51.8%. So the average winner here is 64 cents to 37, a better ratio, a better disparity between, and also a bigger number. So that's pretty good. And now you have a manageable, and again, this is not going to be any guarantee of success by doing this, but by having the odds in your favor, it absolutely assists you in determining and finding a profitable trade. We've got the statistics over the last 2+ years with the AI, and it never ceases to amaze me. It's just, well, now it doesn't really amaze me. I'm very much convinced that it has the technique of finding opportunity in the marketplace. So that's, if you go into the optimization here, you're going to find out that it's just a lot more dialed in. It's going to be a lot more green as you go through, and I'll just quickly cycle through. It's just been cleaned up. So let me give this to everybody here, and then that kind of transitions us into the AI. Let me see if there are any questions that are unanswered. No, I think we're good there. So let me pop that out. I've got this saved in my cloud here. So it's early bird base and AI optimized. I'm going to grab this right here, share it, copy all, and I'm going to put it in the chat. All right, so one of the things that we've most recently added, if you, well, I don't even know if you need the latest beta. It may even, the channel bar may even update itself without the latest beta, but we've superimposed the profitability of the various channels that are now present in the premium version of the latest beta. So the original AI, Holy Grail, I'll click on that. It'll launch the various AI windows. Again, you can set this up in any layout you want, but this is kind of all pre-set up for you if you're inclined to do that and use that. So tough day in the market, by the way, after the interest rate announcements. So very, very jiggy and very volatile. But the AIs, all 3 of them really managed to squeeze it out. Let's go to Neo, because Well, let me show you a couple different ways that you can get around the AI before I dig into kind of how it works and operates. So first and foremost, you can always just click on the channel bar here to update the various channel windows. Takes you right to it. I think a more efficient way, once you have your layout set up, is to use our segment. It's our right-click segments, and this way, if I want to just drill into Holly 2.0, I can do that. It's going to leave all the other windows and elements on my screen kind of intact, so it doesn't. You can do either way, and it's just another kind of trick to show you how to kind of get around here through the software. But as an overview with the AI, so now we've really triplicated what we did initially, with Holy Grail. It's really kind of the same thing, just in triplicate, and it allows us to do some experiments with some of the parameters that pertain to the AI. So just kind of some foundation for it and what we do. Like I showed you that early bird and what happens there, but essentially we have about 40 different, actually a few more now because we're experimenting with a few, but a few more than 40 different base strategies. And the base strategy, very much like you see in the early bird, is a kind of an undeveloped, unfinished strategy, if you will. And every day, every single day after the market closes, Holly goes through each of those unfinished strategies and attempts to finish it. Well, she does finish it, and depending upon how good she does, that's going to be the determining factor for whether that strategy appears the next day. So it kind of works like this. She goes through all the different strategies, optimizes them all, comes to a conclusion for each one of the strategies, and then all 40 plus of those strategies kind of compete with each other based upon their statistics and metrics, their profit factor, their win percentage, their average win rate. And those data points are used to find the strategies that are going to compete the next day, right? Those are the strategies that appear here in your AI. And each one of these, so if I toggle, this right here is Holly 2.0. So if I use this segment, it's not synced with the channel bar yet, but it will be at some point here. But if I go to the other segment here, and we go to Holly Neo, I have a completely different set of strategies. And if in fact there happened to be a strategy called strong stock pulling back in 2 or 3 of these different AIs, there's a very, very good chance, not 100%, but a very, very good chance that those strategies are different because they've been optimized differently. There's so many filters that we have. There are a lot of different ways to create this stuff. And so each one of these strategies very most possibly are different. So you effectively have each one of these different AIs looking at these 40 different bases, optimizing them all individually, and then competing individually to see which strategies appear in all the 3 different AIs. So you now have kind of 3 times the effect, and we're going to be building some additional, ways for you to group this data. Maybe you want to look at all of the long trades. Maybe you want to look at all of the trades that are happening, and we'll be adding that type of functionality to the software. We've been doing this for 15 years and we never stop. I mean, there's really not a finish line that we see, because there's always, there's so many cool things that we have plans of adding in the software and new markets, from which to take this tech and apply it. And right now, guys, we're just doing this, and all you care about, I'm sure, is the financial space. But this tech right here is, it can be applied to a lot of different other markets and industries and places. And so we're super excited about what we can do with it, and especially how we can take and take market data and crunch it and find the footprints in the sand to be able to identify the movers that are running. Movers like, so let's find some stuff here that happened in the AI. This was Galt, right? So let me show you what we do here with respect to the annotations of the chart. So with respect to that, we do some overlays on the chart to give you some visual indication of what's happening. We tell you where that AI signal occurred, the particular candle, the horizontal plane of where it happened, and then you get the visuals of the risk off. And so each one of, this can get a little confusing. I don't want to get you into the weeds, but each one of these strategies right here is optimized with a particular time exit. It could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be like early bird, where it's getting out 30 minutes before the close. So you have to have that kind of exit. It could be at the close, but you have to have that kind of exit. Otherwise, you're not able to really determine the profitability of a strategy. So in that back testing, we have the exit for that, and we took that and migrated it right into the AI as well. And so when you're getting out of that position, that's what we call our risk off exit. That getting out could be a time exit, like we've got here indicated, where it waited the entire time period for that strategy and gets out. We also have the example of hitting that target. I think we had a $1 target in early bird. If that was hit, this one happened to be, well, this was a 75-cent target, and it was hit. And then we have a profit save where it made 36 cents right here, but it did that on a pullback, right? So it moved up all the way to here and then pulled back, and it got out on that pullback. It didn't want to see all of its profit deteriorated. So those are the different algorithms. But then we also keep track of so this would be the risk off profit for Neo, right? That's getting out here at this point. But the risk on profit, which happened to be a little bit bigger, really simulates taking that position that you get into and holding it to the end of the day. So that long position, you're getting in and you're holding it to the end. That short position, you're getting in and holding it to the end. So that's really what we're simulating here with respect to that, and the risk on and the risk off. This right here, the P&L is always going to show you the best of the two, and when you come into a particular segment, and that's what we're calling the various AIs, it's going to take you right to the best scenario for you. So in this particular Holly, the original Holy Grail, the risk off profit was the preferable profit. That would be getting out when it told you to get out, and not necessarily holding this to the end of the day. And you know, in trending markets and markets that continue a certain direction, that is when you do want to you know, kind of hold that to the end of the day. Some positions go against the grain, and you want to do that as well. But as a whole, you know, when you have the type of volatility that we experience today, that wasn't necessarily as well. On this particular strategy set, it wasn't as good. All right, so let me take a look at some questions here. Robert's asking, you'd like to have a column, the Holly trades of daily volume of shares. So Robert, we will be adding the ability to bring in our other columns. Right now, you only have access to what we've determined as the AI columns, but we'll be adding in the various columns that are available through the alert window, for instance, where you have access to really any single filter that we have. Any filter that we have, you can do and make that a column. But right now, you don't have access to every single one in the AI. And the alternative to doing something like that would be really bringing in a single stock window and making sure that you have the data points that you want to look at. So that's a good workaround. So Jana, we actually we do have plans to do that, and we had basis points in there before, and we had some guys from our institutional side say that we weren't doing it right, and I think it just got a little bit complicated. But you're right, there's a much better way to look at it. Well, an alternative way that is something that would be very, very valuable, and that would be the basis points or percentage, like you indicate. We do provide it here through the various positions, but not in aggregate. It used to be right here, but that was before we had risk on and risk off. But we'll come up with a better way to indicate that. So Joya, I'll talk a little bit about the Brokerage Plus towards the end here and go into some of that. So we'll get into that. Brokerage Plus, for those of you that don't know, is a tool for the premium subscribers that allow you to take any type of alert window, any one that you create, and drop it in there and automate it. It also allows you to, through the right-click menu, to trade one of the stocks. So we'll get into that. So right now, Fernando, there are some differences in the three AIs. Primarily, the differences are that they're all being optimized differently, but there's some other differences as well. So each one of the three different AIs maintains a different strategy base. And right now there's a lot of overlap in strategies, but we've started the process of adding some different strategies to the various AIs. So for instance, we'll bring in some longer term swing type of strategies into Holly Neo, and a little bit more aggressive types of strategies into Holly Neo. And we're in the process of creating a write-up that'll distinguish the different kind of approaches that we have to the three AIs. But right now, primarily, with the exception of a couple different strategies that are different in the different AIs, they're primarily just being optimized all uniquely and independently, and all being run through the combine. So we've created the infrastructure to really change our profit saves and our stops, and be able to have different sets of rules, different risk parameters through the AIs. But it's a process, and it's a step. So the production version, and this can be extremely confusing. Well, it says it's 4.2.5. It is 4.2.5. Excuse me, but that is actually less than 4.2.40. So don't forget the zero. You got to add the zero to it, because it's a numerical hierarchy. So yeah, it's kind of confusing. It screwed me up along the way, but. So Richard, you're saying that the focus is on Holly and not on Brokerage Plus. Well, that is right now what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about Holly and not Brokerage Plus. Right now, Holly is not, you can't take it and just automate these signals. It is a manual process, and I'll transition from this over to Brokerage Plus. But yeah, just because that's kind of the order that I was going in. So any more questions on the AI, and I'll kind of move it over to Brokerage Plus. So Matthew, you did have a question here. Can you create your own strategy and have Holly backtest it for me? It's a good question. And we used to do something called execution consulting. And that is where you made a strategy and we'd run it through Holly, and it was great. I mean, it worked out great, but this was before the AI, and what we realized is that there was a degradation that occurred in the optimization of a strategy. Over time, a strategy would change. I mean, the market changes, and what once worked doesn't really work the same way, and maybe sometimes you'll come full circle back to that. But so we found that it had to be continually re-optimized, and it just became a support nightmare in trying to do this for people, because it was a time-consuming process. It wasn't all automated like we have it now. And what we realized is that this really needed to be an automated process, and that's where the whole concept of creating the AI came from. Something that we could scale to people, and something that would be continually updated and current. So that's kind of where it is. And so right now there's really not. It's you can use the odds maker, and you can use that tech to do it. But sometimes you can find a golden nugget. Let me give you the golden nugget. If I can find it. All right, so let me go to my cloud. Got this link right here that I copied, and I'm going to load it. When it's in your clipboard and you load up the cloud, it's going to automatically populate that field right there. So this is called the low volume unusual down move. This was made in November of 2014, and it's just one of those strategies. Like I said, it's not necessarily that easy to trade, because you're going to see that when that excessive down move happens, it's quick, So this is the strategy here, and let me drop it in the chat. And it gives you a result like the profit factor of 9. I mean, 125 trades, so they're not that many trades, but just incredible return. You can just drill into a day and kind of take a look and see what happened. And, it's basically capturing, I don't know if I can get an intraday move back that far. But, you've got some capitulation that's happening. And like I said, we're always listening and looking for things that are out of the norm in a stock. And just because something is dropping doesn't necessarily mean that it's you should be trying to pick the bottom or catch the falling knife, as they say. But oftentimes the opportunity presents itself, and this strategy is pretty cool because it's looking for that and looking for that quick rebound. So I dropped it into the chat right there. All right, now let's do this. Let's get rid of that stuff. Let me just refresh my channels here. All right, so let's open up Brokerage Plus. In fact, I should probably log in. I don't even know if I need to do it with my other account, but. So I'm gonna go Brokerage Plus. And I'm not gonna, it's after hours, so I'm not gonna connect it to, well, for one, okay, so let me do the little intro on Brokerage Plus. This is our tool that right now connects only with interactive brokers. At some point, we will be connecting with other brokerage firms, but we're going to be doing another kind of iteration on Brokerage Plus coming up. It's kind of something that we don't always leave open as a project, and it's something that we kind of keep coming back to refine and enhance. But this is a tool that allows you to take any strategy that you create, this alert window, for instance, and drop it in, to the strategy area here and turn it on and automate it. So it kind of works like this here. So if I take this upward momentum strategy here, I can go to collaborate. A lot of different ways I can do it. I'm going to hit copy all here, and I'm going to go to new trading strategy. I could have loaded it from the cloud if I had it in my cloud, and it's there, but this is just another way to do it. So I'm going to go to collaborate here, and I'm just going to paste it. It was in my clipboard. It puts all the settings right in here, the name, knows if I'm going long or short based on, well, I think it's going to default to long here, and then you can make your selection. Time frame, you have some parameters here. If you only want to trade a certain number of filled orders or sent orders, you can go ahead and put those parameters. You can tell it, how do you want to trade it? Do you want to say $5,000, $10,000 worth of stock? Or do you want to buy 200 shares or 1,000 shares of something when you do it? And so you put in that parameter here, you tell it what kind of order you want to go to market with, limit delta, maybe it's a limit below the bid, a limit or below the last, maybe it's a limit above the last by a certain number of pennies. Some other stuff we've recently added, like stop limit, and you can use custom formulas for the guys that are really slick. You can use custom formulas to really create something that's unique from an entry place, based upon that stock's movement or something like that. So you can get pretty sophisticated. Put in your stop, target, trailing stop, how long you want to hold it. So, let's say you want to hold it for 60 minutes if the stop doesn't trigger or the target doesn't trigger. Or you don't have to have the timed exit, and it'll just, just do the entry like that. You won't have that timed exit. You'll still have your stop loss or your target. So that's your parameter right there. And out of the box, it comes with these 4 different strategies. They're not really strategies, even though they're on the strategy tab. This is what really is populated when you right-click, hover over trade, and you have these options. That's what's in here. So, for instance, I've set it up to buy $5,000 worth of stock at the market, 5,000 at last. If I wanted to change that, I can go to edit, change my text first of all so that it says what I want it to say, and then come over here and change the literal instruction for it. Then once I do that, bada bing, and so now 10,000 at market, right click, and it's 10,000 at market. So that's the way that you would use that right click execution. I think I canceled out of the other one, so I kind of lost my, well, I can do it like this right here. So if I go save to cloud, save and share, copy all, right click, load from cloud. I could grab it from here, it's already in here, load. I'm going to add to the existing, and now it's in right here. All I need to do to turn it on is just enable it, and it turns on. I'm not connected right now. I would need to be connected, and we connect to either Trader Workstation or we connect to their gateway. So either one of those two programs need to be up and running, logged in, and then you would connect in that fashion right there. And then from there, you can minimize it. You can use this Brokerage Plus to manage your positions. You can get out of them from here. It gives you a nice P&L chart, just like Holly does, so you can see how you've been doing from the beginning of the day to the current point in time. Other tabs that you can open up an orders tab, or you can use the interactive brokers order. So, however you want to use it, you can do that. So this would all get populated once you're connected. Yeah, so this I can give you, but I think if you go to the Surge channel, which is right here, you're going to find this window right here. And this is kind of the process. I'll close this. This is a great window because it's something totally different and unique from the other windows, and I'll show you why. So you can grab that. And once you grab it, if you right click and pin it, then it's going to stay here. And I can go like to my liked symbols here, and these are the symbols that I've liked, and I can look at it from a streaming or whatever, but this window stays because it's pinned, and that's so you can just grab that, go right to the Surge channel, right click pin, and then you could right click and save it to your own cloud. But the thing that's cool about this window, we have something here in properties called the view mode, and it's set up typical way is newest first. You're always going to see the latest event up on top, but this one right here, if I highlight it, it's not going to be, there's not anything really happening right now. So I'm just going to run a history for today. And instead of giving me some type of chronological type of order, it's going to give me the sort order that I choose. And I choose here to have the count as my sort order. And the count is a real powerful bit of information. I mean, there's no magic bullet to it, but it tells me how many times has that symbol hit a new high today. So this guy right here hit a high based on the other filters that I have in here. It's not just a new high window, but with all the filters that I have with the volume constraints and such, it was, did a tremendous amount more. Galt was one that was an AI signal, and that was triggered right here. So it's always looking and mining for that. But the thing that's really interesting, when another new high event occurs here, if it appeared right here, because it had 75 new highs, it would appear right here and it would turn black. If PVTL had a new high, it would stay right here and turn black, and this would increment by one. So it's just another way to look at the data. Otherwise, yeah, I'd do a post-market window, but there's just not a lot going on. So Mark is asking about the API, and Mark, we've discontinued the API. There were just some exchange issues and problems with redistribution and people getting access to the data, that it was just not really that manageable. But if it's something that you have some type of enterprise project that you're interested in, you can always contact us at Trade Ideas, and we'll talk to you about that specifically. You're welcome. So I'm going to, any more questions, guys? Fire at me if you have them. All right, so Scott, I'm going to bring you back, and I'm going to let you bring it home.
All right, that sounds good. On the way out, then, let's mention a few things. We have a podcast, and there's a new one out every Friday, or just about every Friday, so make sure you subscribe so you catch the next one that should be out this Friday. And when you subscribe, you can also download some of the previous episodes, which are really good too, so check those out. Just search for Trade Ideas Podcast at whatever app you use to listen to podcasts in, find it, and hit the subscribe button. You get the next one soon. We have an ebook that's very timely for what's going on right now in the markets. Trade-ideas.com/ebook is the place to go to download that. It's the next slide there, Brad. And several of our educators participated in writing it. There's 5 chapters, one with a strategy each, on how to keep winning in a post-BTFD market. There's a promo code for this month, June Bloom, June Bloom, like as in the flowers are blooming, all caps, just like you see it on your screen. That saves you an instant 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas of either standard or premium. So huge savings on the premium annual subscription with that. And those of you that are standard members and want to do an upgrade to premium, just use that code when you're doing the upgrade. Go to the Trade Ideas homepage, click the upper right login button, log in, and then find the change my subscription button on the right and use that code. Thank you, Brad. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Barry, for helping out. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro, and share everything we post with all your friends. We'd love that. You can follow us on Twitter. We've got several handles, at TradeIdeas1 and at TradeIdeas and at TodayTrader and at QuantBot, among others. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.
Later on.